And we're live. You hit the thing?
Live and ready to go.
Live and ready to go. So you would never be like, hey, girl, let me take you out sometime. You look real good in that sunflower hat. What is it called? Sun hat?
Sundress.
No,
I'm thinking
the
of
big
Drake.
hat. I'm thinking of the big hat with like...
That's
Is it a sun hat?
That's a sun hat.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
No, I would not be like, hey, let me take you out.
Hey,
I don't do that.
let me take you out. You're not about that life.
No, it comes off like kind of sleazy and like too, I don't know, forceful.
Well, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, I'm all about that respect. You know what I mean?
RESPECT.
Yes.
RESPCTC. It's Michael Scott quote. Oh, but you wouldn't know because you don't watch movies, shows.
Yeah,
whatever. Because you live under a rock. Recurring joke.
I mean, I like to use my time wisely.
Oh, whatever. Oh,
I watched Solo last night.
Hey, have you ever? Oh, yeah, I still haven't seen that.
I'll be honest, it was all right. I would say it's a lot more enjoyable than The Last Jedi.
Here's my thing. Fans who saw Last Jedi hated it. Critics loved it. Critics love Solo. Or other way around. Critics hated on Solo. Fans loved it.
I feel that.
And I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was really good. And so when I saw a video on YouTube with a clickbaity title, of course, that was like, here's all the things that were wrong with Solo. I didn't even watch the video. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into this with a fresh mind.
That movie is like...
It's on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on. That's where I watched it. That movie's like as straightforward of a movie as you can get. Like, it's not trying to be anything special. It is a space heist movie.
Right.
And it doesn't set
with Star Wars characters and music.
Yeah, and it doesn't put any expectation. Like, we're going to be like the Fast and Furious of like a heist. It's just like a very,
yeah,
Star Wars-esque movie done well. I was really down on the guy that played Solo just because I didn't think he looked like him too much. But his acting, I'm like, this is all right. I'm going to allow this.
I'm glad that they didn't try and CGI a young Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that would have been too much.
It's fine. Does that give you more hope for the last guy? The Return of Skywalker? Last Skywalker? I don't even know what the new one's called.
The final one? They're just made by different... They're directed by different people, so, I mean, there's not much consistency had here. I mean, we're getting a return of J.J. Abrams from Episode 7 for 9. So, I mean, maybe he'll touch back up on the plots he set up for 7, but all that kind of went out the window with 8.
I mean, yeah, 8 was a dumpster fire.
But, I mean, 8 isn't entirely trash. There are things about it that I like.
Well, I mean, of course, there's always cool scenes, but when I saw Jeremy sent me the video, it was...
I know what video you're talking about.
Like, all the things wrong with The Last Jedi, and he broke it down scene by scene, and I just was so frustrated after that, because I walked out of the movie theater thinking, like,
yeah,
this was awesome. And then the more I thought back on it, I was like,
What would you rate Last Jedi?
Like, out of 10?
Yeah.
5.5, maybe? It's a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So regardless of it, it's one of those things where you like it because it's been a part of your childhood. But at the same time, if you look at it from a straight movie perspective, plot lines and everything, awful.
I think... I have a lot of problems with 8, but I don't hate it. And I definitely don't think it's the worst Star Wars movie. There are other Star Wars movies to hold that title.
The Phantom Menace.
That's a boring movie.
Sharish, I'm calling you out directly.
Well, Jeremy's of the mind that 1 is better than 8. I'm just like,
Okay, Jeremy, I'm calling you out too.
I can't agree. Because...
Phantom Menace?
It's
the worst one.
There are a few redeeming factors to
Darth
Maul, and then the fight scene and the music's good. Other than that, I mean, come on, the Gungan?
Come on. The storyline was boring.
It's what, trade embargoes?
It's, yeah, pretty much. Trade embargoes, a race, a pod race, which wasn't even cool. Everyone loved the pod race scene.
I think people give that, like, the nostalgia is way too high on the pod racing.
Yeah, because there was the game, the Star Wars pod racing game.
Right.
Yeah, and I played that. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, it's a.
But I was not.
It's a
I was
racing game.
not about the first one, and even really, I mean, the second one too was not. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't compared to the first one, but 3 was really the only one that holds up out of the original or the first trilogy.
Yeah, I agree. 3 is my favorite of the prequels. It has I don't know. I think it's set up, Anakin fairly well for him becoming the bad guy.
Well, and I mean, you also have to think about that was like the original intended purpose. That was why they didn't release the first 3. Can you imagine if we got the first 3 in the 70s and 80s?
Wasn't the reason to make the prequels later just because the technology wasn't like...
Well, I have always been of the understanding that it was because the storyline leading up to 4 wasn't great. It wasn't like exciting. So they started on 4 because they, at that point, like, that's in the storyline, that's when it's the most awesome. And a lot of people were confused when A New Hope comes out, when 4 comes out, because they're like, wait, 4? What about episode 1, 2, and 3?
Well, from what I know, A New Hope, when that movie came out, it was just called Star Wars A New Hope. And the 4th thing got added later on. So when it came out, it's just, like, if you want to, what the original Star Wars title is Star Wars A New Hope.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know that until like 2 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for spitting false facts.
No, it's all good.
Because I didn't know either.
Yeah, I was of their mind that, like, it just came out as 4. And then, an old head's like, no, dude.
No, dude.
When it came out, it was just Star Wars.
You were born in 95.
Yeah.
It's okay. So what do you think about, I guess, what are your thoughts on the new Star Wars that's coming out?
I mean, I'll watch it. I hope that, the plots and arcs that Abrams set up in 7 come back. Like, I want to know about the Knights of Ren. Because, I mean, you get a little flashback of them and you see maybe them for like 4 seconds. I just kind of want to know what that's about. And I heard they are retconning the Rey's backstory segment, that is going to be fleshed out. And so what happened in 8 of like, oh, your parents were junkers, is like, that's being like, that didn't happen.
Interesting.
So I've heard.
So you've heard. Well, and I would be upset if they don't flesh out Rey's backstory. Because, I mean, we've known this character for 3 movies now. They've built her up to be this awesome Jedi. And yet we still have no idea what her backstory is like.
I like the idea of them being like, anybody can be a Force user. But at the same time, when she's like that powerful, it just reminds me of Anakin.
Yeah.
And isn't that what everyone hated about Anakin, was that he just kind of came out of nowhere and he's like, oh yeah,
and he was
I'm
like,
powerful.
Super powerful too.
Right.
I mean, he became Darth Vader. Come on now.
Like, we don't need another Anakin.
Well, but also, I think that if Rey is going to be as powerful as she is, she needs to be explained a little bit. I mean, we understand that, she trained with Luke. And obviously...
I mean, I would loosely say train because it's like her trying to get him to train.
Well, but we don't know necessarily what happens at the end of Force Awakens to the beginning of 8.
What do you mean? It picks up directly.
Well, okay, but
he chucks his lightsaber. Like,
but they leave a lot off screen. I mean, all of that could have been done off screen. That they just, more so allude to with the impression that people are going to pick up on it. But,
right.
I mean, that happens a lot. They'll do a lot of stuff off screen, and then you're like, they just assume the audience is going to pick it up. And most people do, but there are those that don't.
Yeah, I'm more interested to see what ends up being the final story. Because this is supposed to be the last of, like, this saga of Star Wars, right?
Well, I don't know. I would hope that they would end this one and do other stories.
Well, so the guy that did 8, that director is being hired on to do his own trilogy, which I think is cool because it's like you now have whole new material. You don't have to keep reverting back to this family. Like I'm over about the Skywalkers. I want to know about new Star Wars stories.
Yeah.
So maybe some
There's
old,
some
Old
even
Republic. And
I
stuff.
mean, there's some cool Star Wars books that are just stories.
That's what I mean.
But they include, like, I mean, Luke, Han, and Leia are together, but they're not like old, because I mean, you go from the end of 6, where there's still a lot of life in between that and the jump when they do 7. It's like, it's been like 40 years. Leia looks like she's 100, and so I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could happen in between those two periods that they could flesh out. But I agree with you. I would want different stories. There's a lot of cool characters. Like, the books of Star Wars are endless. There's so many.
Well, this is the thing about Star Wars is like, it's obviously a space thing. So, there are galaxies and universes and planets and all this stuff. But for the duration of all these now 9 movies, it all has centered around one family.
Right.
And it's like, come on, the universe is so vast. Like, wouldn't you want to learn about like other segments of this world?
Yeah. Well, but I also think that there should be more, like Darth Maul. I would love to see a Darth Maul origin story movie.
I'm curious about like the bounty hunters.
Well, yeah, Boba Fett and Jango Fett. I would like to see both of them. But I would also like to see oh my gosh, what is that?
Bosk.
Well, that would be cool too.
I don't need a Bosk standalone, but maybe like a movie just centered around like bounty hunters. But I mean, there's also the Mandalorian show coming out, so.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Disney probably picked that up.
Yep.
On their streaming service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might entice me to.
I would. I mean, if it's anything like Gotham, I started watching Gotham. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you to watch it. You want to know how many episodes there are per season?
Isn't there like 3 seasons?
There's 5 seasons.
They're already that far?
Yeah, this 5th season is apparently the last one.
Oh.
And each season, at least up to 4, which is on Netflix right now, 22 episodes at 45 minutes apiece.
The fact that it's ending soon makes me like just a little bit curious. Oh, okay, so a couple weeks ago, I had said that DC canceled Swamp Thing, but that's not true at all. There are pictures coming out of like the set footage. He looks awesome.
I heard that they canceled it, and I hope that they didn't.
Well, the show came out.
Wait, it did?
Yeah, I thought it was canceled, but maybe movie. I don't know. I don't know where I heard that, but I remember reading something about it. But yeah, I just saw an article saying like, "Oh, here's our review for Swamp Thing," and they said it's really good. I'm like, "Whoa."
Where is it? Where can you watch it?
On DC's streaming service.
Oh, I've thought about copping that.
All these services, it's just
I know. I like Hulu because Hulu captures
the newer stuff.
Yeah, like and a wide variety of stuff. Netflix only get like season 4 of Gotham's been out for a while, but I just started the show, so I have plenty of time until season 5 pops up on Netflix.
It took them forever to get the other seasons of Attack on Titan for some reason. But
yeah, they only had the first season for a while.
And now they have...
I haven't seen any of the new episodes from the second part of season 3 yet.
That's on Hulu.
Yeah, I know. I need to watch it.
Man, it's good stuff.
I need to watch it. Because season 3, midway through, part 1, leaves you on such a cliffhanger. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
The episodes they're getting into right now are like...
They're intense, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get my brother into it because he likes My Hero. And I was like, if you like My Hero, you'll love Attack on Titan.
I mean, they have different tones. Like, one's about superheroes and the other's about, like, giant naked monsters.
Well, okay, fair enough. But they're naked with no defining body parts.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, like, humanoid.
Yeah, they're just weird. Like, it's...
And they eat people.
But the action scenes are awesome. And the drama and the storyline is actually phenomenal. And I told my brother, I was like, you just need to get past the first, like, 6 episodes of Attack on Titan.
The first episode for me
was awesome, but then it slows down and takes a serious, build-up phase. I told him that if you just get past the first couple episodes and really just give it a shot, you will be hooked by, episode 9 for sure. And
I was a sucker by like episode 4.
I was too.
I'm
But
like,
that was me. And you would build it up a lot. But I liked the idea, like the storyline itself, how you have these gigantic forces and they do a lot of training, and it's like the typical training montage, and you think like, oh my gosh, they're gonna freaking be awesome, and then all of a sudden they just get washed in their first bout.
everything literally could not go worse.
Yeah, it goes to hell in a handbasket, and then you just think like, oh my gosh, this is actually, there's actually a reason to keep watching. And then by season 2, midway through, you're like, come on, man. Like, still?
Yeah.
It still gets interesting, though, which is cool.
Yeah,
I'm all the way in.
I love that show.
Yeah, it's great. It's my favorite anime, I can say. It's even better than One Punch Man, which I really enjoyed.
I don't know. It's definitely like it's not shonen anime, so it's like not, it's not like I mean, there's action, but it's not like Naruto or My Hero. It's more of a drama, I guess, with action. But yeah, I don't know. It depends on what kind of stuff you like. I like some of the sappy ones, and with that, I also like rom-coms. So
Well, yeah, that's another. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind rom-coms. There's some good ones, but definitely not. Definitely wouldn't be my choice if I'm gonna sit down. I have to be feeling those kind of movies, and especially the anime. Like, what was that one that we went and saw in theaters?
Your Name.
I mean, it was a good storyline, but I was so bored.
That experience was ruined for me. Well, there's a couple of reasons why, but the people behind us would not stop talking because you can clearly tell that they had already seen the movie, and it's like, dude, shut up.
Well, and
I've never seen this.
my other qualm is seeing Japanese anime in theaters with that big of a screen.
Oh, make it hard to read.
It was hard for me to focus on what was happening and read the subtitles at the same time. The reason that I can do subtitles and watch anime at home is because
You can rewind it.
well, but I can also in one eye level catch with my periffs the subtitles and still watch the anime that's happening. And so I think that was really the I want to try and maybe watch it again at my house rather than in the theaters, because I think that was a real big problem of why I didn't like it, because I was like, there would be entire scenes where I wouldn't catch the dialogue, and then I'm like, okay, this sucks.
Yeah, it's been one I've been meaning to rewatch because, like I said, my experience was not good when we went to go see it.
Yeah, I understand. That's one thing that I try and encourage my brother to watch anime with the Japanese like sub, not the dubbed version, not the English dubbed version.
There are good dubs. If he's watching My Hero in dub, that one's fine.
Well, okay.
It's
That's one I don't know. I can't speak to because I've never seen My Hero.
now Attack on Titan's dub is. I don't like it.
No, I don't either. But what are you gonna do? Jeremy said that the Cowboy Bebop dub is
pretty good.
pretty good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just all the way in now. So if I'm gonna watch anime, like Batman Ninja, I didn't like the English dub version of that.
I think didn't we only watch it in Japanese?
Well, yeah, we watched it in Japanese, but then I went back and I've
you
seen
found
the
it?
English. Yeah, I've watched the English. I bought it on Xbox.
Oh,
I bought like the version with both, so I can watch the English and the Japanese, and I have it on my Xbox. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, do you ever think that they're gonna introduce like anime into VR?
I mean, they're already like in Japan. There are anime game VR, and they're not safe for work.
Well, I would be a game that's a cartoon to me would be hard.
I mean, they're doing like simulated experiences of, anime stuff.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know about all that, but I haven't really even tried VR, to be honest. Like, I mean, much. I've done a little bit of it, but
You ever go to a store and try it out?
no.
What?
I would rather do it with somebody that actually has it, so I can kind of explore all of the things.
I think
when I'm in a store, I feel self-conscious.
Hear me out though. I think going into a store to test it out. At least get your feet wet with VR. I've done it, and I'm like, yo.
Well, I've tried it. I'm not saying I haven't tried it. I haven't done it much though.
Well, I asked you if you went to the store, and you said no.
Well, I haven't gone to the store. I've done it with people who have had it before.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
the one that like there's the HTC Vive that you can put on your phone.
mm-hmm.
I've done that one a handful of times. That one's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool.
Have you seen the Oculus Quest that just came out?
No.
Now that looks worth the money. It's like $400, but
that's not bad at all though.
It's wireless.
It's a console.
It's its own device in the headset itself, so you don't have to like plug it into a PC, no phone. It just works on its own.
That's cool.
And
you got the joysticks.
Yeah, comes with those too.
Yeah.
I think it honestly that would be a luxury product I could see myself realistically buying because like that's the VR I've been waiting for is wireless. Have you seen like some like PSVR? Like there are so many cables that come with it. I'm just like this is not it.
How would you do VR here though? Can you sit in your bed and play a game, or do you have to be up and moving?
It depends on what kind of VR experience you're doing. If you're playing like Beat Saber, which is like you basically have like lightsabers and you're like hitting stuff, that you need your open space.
Yeah, where you're swinging your arms around. I've seen that.
Yeah,
but if you like, I've seen some of the shooter games that they have.
Yeah, I think you want as much space as possible.
Because my thing is, I'm gonna run into stuff.
That's why most people try and like. There are people that have like VR rooms where it's just pretty much like an empty room, so that you can loosely do whatever you want.
That makes sense.
How do you feel about VR concerts? It's a thing.
Deep sigh.
I approve. Big approve.
You've never been to a concert.
Hear me out though. There's no way that this could be bad.
Okay. Tell me that after we go to the concert in July.
No, okay. Hear me out though. What if a band is performing overseas and like they hardly tour at all, but it's like, oh, they're going to be doing VR concert, so like you can see them if you just I don't know pitch in like $50 or whatever for access to the stream. You don't think that's a good idea?
Okay, that is sure. I don't think that it's better than seeing the people live, though.
I don't know. I don't think better's the argument that I'm making. I'm just thinking. I think this is a good second option.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I would want headphones. I would want the whole nines.
Because they have special VR cameras at these concerts, and then it's like if you turn your head, it's like you're there.
But to me, nothing competes with the volume, the sheer volume of a concert. When you hear the crowd, when you hear the music, when you hear the screams after the song is finished. I mean, there are so many factors that play into concerts that I'm not saying I wouldn't do that option. I would just want like some head shaking bass headphones.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be able to, because that's really what separates. I mean, concerts are cool when you see them live, like on video, but it doesn't do it justice.
Oh, no. People that record full concerts, unless you're a professional doing it, you might as well delete it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a professional, because I mean, August Burns Red's done. They did a live album.
Yeah, when you have like your camera crew, where it's like produced by a team and like the footage is shot all nice, like that is fine. I'm talking about these Snapchat vids of like, oh my god, I'm at the Green Day concert. I'm like, you should delete everything.
Delete your account.
Delete all.
Delete
of this.
your account. Do you think that like? So is that your view of where technology is going to go, to like VR technology specifically, to the point where we're going to not like it's a Black Mirror situation where we really don't do anything anymore? We mainly, like, for our entertainment, for like we pop on VR glasses, or it's a more integrated version where it's not like the way that it is now, where you have these big bulky glasses, right? You just, I mean, like you have that little dot on the side of your head and it transports you to a VR, virtual reality kind of thing.
Well, if it's mixing in with your reality, then that's augmented reality. So that's like the fusion of both.
No, but I mean like virtual reality, the same kind of technology, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a lot easier to do. where you don't have the glasses and you don't. I mean, you
The big headset.
yeah, like the big headset and everything. I guess the reason I ask is the way that I've had some thoughts about like technology recently, and the way that company, or I guess technology, is portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if you think that there is better technology that companies have that they're holding on to, and they're releasing it a little bit at a time, or do you think that they're just releasing whatever they have, the best of whatever they have, and hoping that they get the next big innovation before somebody else does?
There's no way. Mainly because, I mean, there's no way that things are just being released as they come out, and like what the Oculus Quest, like that's it. Like I truly believe that there are technologies that we don't know about, and it's mainly because they're like incubated in testing for like a long time. And I mean, they have to make sure that these things are viable in the future for when they are released. But I know this in some fashion because I knew a guy that worked at Microsoft, and he told me, he didn't lay specifics, and I was like, I just kind of joked with him, and I was like, hey man, what are they doing at Microsoft? He's like, oh, we've been doing a lot of testing for all this stuff. It's like stuff you're not going to see for like, maybe a year out, but like it's cool. I'm like, all right.
But a year though, right? They're not any farther than like, maybe 1 to 2 years, you think?
I mean, he might have signed like NDAs that's like, this thing we're like scratching the surface may not see the light of day, but you cannot talk about it at all.
Yeah.
Like we'll find you, but
we'll find you and kill you.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I think there are technologies that exist under the radar. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I can't believe that a company would just release what they have and in hopes, that it's the best because it's the best that they got. Because what if they can't get to the next step, then that company goes out of business.
Yeah, like if they put all their eggs in a basket and be like, all right, this is our final product, or like the best it's ever been. Like they have to hold on to some stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I mean specifically with VR technology, right? I mean, it's something that is so new. It's something that could have positive and negative effects, and they're not about to release the augmented reality system like San Junipero because we're just simply not ready for it.
Oh, that one's scary.
That's yeah. I have my own thoughts on that, but
what do you mean? Because like, I mean, that one messes with me because it's the fact of, spoilers for Black Mirror if you haven't watched it, but if you are basically at death, like would you want a permanent traditional death, or do you want like your body or your conscious to be like in a cloud system, and essentially you can never die?
Well, you're foregoing heaven or any thought of the afterlife. You're taking matters into your own hands, which is what I have the problem with. So if that were to be integrated into our everyday life, if you don't know, basically when you die, you have the option to upload your consciousness and live forever in a paradise that can be, or in like
your paradise.
Your paradise. It's one town called San Junipero, and for certain people, it's the 80s or the 90s or the 2000s, whatever it is. But then you basically every night is you just get to live on repeat, meet new people, whatever. You choose that over, like, you willingly choose that, and that's introduced into our life. If that was here right now,
yeah,
I would take the traditional. I'm like, no way, you're taking my consciousness.
I just don't like the fact that you can't turn it off.
Well, but that's the whole, like, I guess it depends on your view of like consciousness versus soul.
Yeah.
But to me, consciousness is my soul. Like your thoughts, your action, like your words, the way you carry yourself, your mannerisms, your personality, those things, that is what defines your soul. And if you believe in the afterlife, you go to heaven or you go to hell, or you do some other whatever afterlife there are that is preached in other religions. I'm not totally sure. And I think that if you take that, you're saying like, no, I'm going to take my soul and I'm going to put it into my own hands. it's just it doesn't sit well with me.
I just think that would drive someone to insanity. Like, it
Well,
sounds good
it's
on paper of like, yeah, I want to be in my paradise, but it's like you can't leave
to me that's hell. Because eventually that gets it's like the same, it would be like you living one day of your life
forever.
for eternity.
Ugh.
Like, I mean, eventually there's not enough things in that world, so to speak, that could be added. It's not the everlasting heaven. It's like one thing or a series of things that's just on repeat.
Well, they kind of touch up on that because they show that there's also that like Mad Max town for the people that like that normal San Junipero isn't enough anymore. And it's like they don't get reactions of being there, so they have to be in that weird Mad Max town just to like kind of feel anything. So I think that's them showing the breakdown.
Well, and I there's actually a really good book. I don't know the name of it. I read it when I was in jail, but it was about these three friends who are have been best friends their whole lives, went to the army together, like the Marines together and everything, and they're old, 50 years old, careers, wives, kids, whatever. And the three of them get into a car accident, and two of the friends die. One of the friends is a devout Christian. The other person is like a straight up like denies God and doesn't believe in anything. And then the other person is kind of like just in the middle, has always been the mediator between the friends. And one of the chapters goes from the perspective of the friend that's like in hell, or what you would consider to be hell, and it's a void. Like the book describes it as it being like a void place, and he has his consciousness, but he doesn't have like a physical body, and he like forever on repeat all the people that he loves, all the people that he's wronged, everything that he's done has been like 2 feet in front of him, but he can never reach it. And so his eternal suffering is being like feet away from all the mistakes you've made, feet away from all the people that you love, your wife, your kids, whatever, and never being able to reach it. And then it also talks about being like utterly voidless of like God. God is like completely out, or like not present in hell, and so that's another reason why like it is truly so terrible.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my thing is, and then another thing about the San Junipero thing, you upload your consciousness. What happens when the world dies? Like, I mean, you never know. Like, when the world dies and that system theoretically gets destroyed, it stops working. It's not just like a thing that would continue on after the machines, those robots that are like putting all of those consciousnesses into the cloud system kind of thing. Like, that doesn't just continue.
I feel like it's like a TV and it probably just shuts off.
Right, it just shuts off. And so then you're truly dead. You are non-existent. You are nothing. And who wants that?
Well, I mean, that's a question of like what you think happens after.
I agree.
So
yeah,
and
we don't need to get into that. We'll keep this a little bit more lighthearted. I just think it's interesting. But back to our VR talk, I think, if they were to release everything all in once, like you said, put all their eggs in one basket, I don't know how that would be beneficial.
What do you mean? Like, I guess I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's more of how do you, the way that companies release information, the way that companies, feed things to the public, so to speak, in the form of products. I find it fascinating that there is, to me, it seems like the typical, James Bond scenario, or like Terminator, have you seen Terminator Genesis?
No.
So it's like this big company.
Skynet? Kind of.
It's like before or after Sky. I don't know how. I can't remember how the story. Yeah, no. So it's before Skynet goes live.
Okay.
But a little bit after Judgment Day. So Judgment Day happens, but the machines don't invade. And so there's a company that wants to upload and connect all of your devices. And so their big thing is connecting absolutely everything to one device, having like, basically ultimate connectivity. And then through that process, when they launch that, Skynet would have like absolute control over everything. And so that's the whole point of the movie, is they go back and try and stop that. But that, like, companies that get to that, I always think, like, is Elon Musk the next supervillain that's trying to take over the world kind of thing? You know what I mean? The big bad guys.
I think he's the guy that wants to go to space.
Well, definitely that. It's a bad example, but, that's always one of my crazy paranoid thoughts that I have sometimes that are just like a random spiral of mind.
Between Google, Apple, Microsoft, who's another tech giant?
Twitter, Instagram,
No.
or Twitter, Facebook.
Okay, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple. Which of those four do you think like has the most likely chance to be Skynet?
Google.
I feel like, I don't know. I see Facebook up there.
Well, Facebook in a different way.
I mean, they're the ones that have the information. Google does too, obviously, with their search engine, but I don't know. I feel like Facebook's just more sinister, and they try to be that like, hey, we're a good company.
Yeah, but what are they data mining? What information are they getting? Are they getting what you put on social media? Are you safe by not putting anything on social media?
I mean, it wasn't up until recently that you couldn't permanently delete your Facebook, because for a while it was just like, oh, you're disabling it, but you can always come back.
Yeah, I never figured out how to delete my Facebook.
Yeah.
I wanted to for the longest time, and it would never actually delete. And every time that I accidentally typed in the wrong information, it would automatically activate it.
And you have those memes about Mark Zuckerberg being a lizard or a robot.
Yeah, those are hilarious. So you think Facebook would be the next, like, the most likely? Because my biggest thing is Facebook has access to what you post on social media and like your accounts and things like that. But how are they getting information off of your computer simply by you being logged in? Because what about information that's traveled through Google? For all we know, you type something into Google, you follow the page. Let's say you buy something. Let's say you look at certain things like what if Google doesn't stop at the search engine to where like it once you hit send and once you hit enter and you click on the website, it doesn't like take you out of Google because you went through that portal kind of thing. And so are they able to access all of that? Are they able to, obviously most likely the answer is no, but that's where, the supervillain talk comes in.
Yeah, but
that's a more likely chance of them having access to things.
They're a bigger company. It's just, I think just how many people are tuned into Facebook, and then also, they own Instagram, and people are constantly posting on Instagram. You ever see those things where like people go on vacation and like they post it that they went on vacation, so someone goes and like robs their house because they know that they're not home?
No, I haven't seen that, but because I also don't share where I live on social media. But what about the people that go on vacation and then spend their whole time documenting their vacation?
Oh,
I saw a post or a story the other day where it was like 5 friends in a circle and they all had shots and they were all taking shots, and every single person was taking a video from their perspective of them having the shot in front of their hand, and then they went up to like right before they went up to like cheers everybody, they all did like one of these maneuvers where they all like moved the camera and showed who they were with, and you saw like she would go to the right and then her friend had the same picture or like the same, it was like her camera, she was filming her, and I happened to follow 3 of the people that were in the group, and so I saw the same
story from
interaction. Yeah, I saw the same interaction 3 times from different points of view. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here?
That's their little
Why
flex.
can't you live in the moment? Like, I just, we did videos and boomerangs and pictures while we were in Japan. But most of the time that we were posting was when we were at home, back at the Airbnb after we had been traveling for the day.
Yeah,
I didn't do any of my Instagram posts until after I had edited my pictures. And that was usually after we got back to the Airbnb.
people were asking me to post more. I'm like, guys,
I'm here.
I feel like it's taking away from my experience just to try and like document everything. Like, I just want to be here and just kind of.
What I thought was cool that I did that allowed me to kind of look at things in a different way was just take small boomerangs as I was going. So if I walked into a store that I felt was cool and I happened to have my phone out, I would flip over to Instagram and take a boomerang as I was walking, and then I would put my phone away.
Yeah.
And it was like quick little things. It was never, I'm not walking around with my phone out because, number one, my battery wouldn't last that long. I mean, we were gone from 8, 9 o'clock until 10 o'clock the following night, or like the, same night.
Yeah.
And so my phone would die. We didn't have that. We had limited internet. The pocket Wi-Fi would die midway through the day, every day.
Right.
So, I mean, I just personally would rather live in the moment as much as I can.
I agree too. At some point, like, yeah, it's cool to have these photos to like look back on, but if you're not there fully appreciating everything because you're just like focused on getting that right shot or that right, this is gonna be the post for Instagram that gets a lot of likes. Like when the thing that you're there for isn't your like priority, I feel like you're kind of wasting your time.
Yeah, like why are you even there?
Yeah.
There's a comedian named John Christ, and he does these videos where he'll be like, parents on a vacation be like, and he's got this, YouTube video or whatever. And so he posted something on his Instagram the other day that was, it was like a video of two girls walking around Disneyland. And he said in his caption, he was like, I feel bad for the parents that brought their kids to Disneyland only for them to recreate videos of me walking through Disneyland being like this or whatever. And it was like they weren't even at Disneyland for the experience of being at Disneyland. They were there to recreate a video from somebody that was famous that was at Disneyland.
Have you seen that video of someone, I feel kind of weird about this. There was a guy that went to Coachella and he was recording everyone that was recording themselves. Like, so them, their friends getting like low for they always say like your angles for,
of course,
for pictures. It's like, oh, their friends are squatting low trying to get that right, angle of their friend, or, the lighting's all good and stuff. Like, so this guy's just going around. He's like, oh, great to see everyone's enjoying themselves at Coachella, even though no one's like dancing. Everyone's just wants to showcase them being at Coachella. What do you think of that?
I have a problem with him videotaping people just because it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I also think that the reason that he's videotaping people is an attempt to, like, I feel like now
he's trying to downplay them, but he's doing the same thing.
He's doing the exact, yeah. I think that now the big thing and the big movement and what everybody is trying to do is become social media famous.
Right.
I think that the word clout is weird, but it carries a good meaning.
It's a silly word.
It's a silly word for
I
sure,
like it, though.
but it's a great way to describe what people are doing, because it's not a matter of, sharing my life and wanting to keep everybody updated on my comings and goings, which was the original purpose behind Facebook.
Yeah.
It was like to update family members, stay connected to the people that you like.
It's a flex.
Only your friend. Well, okay, fair enough.
No. I'm saying the stuff that's going on now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's a big flex.
That's a flex, yeah. We were just having this conversation with my parents. Cool flex, but okay. My dad was like, cool flex, but it's okay, bro. And I was like, Dad, you got to shorten it up. You got to say cool flex, but okay. Like, you just...
I thought the term was weird flex, but...
Or that's what it was. Yeah, you're right. Weird flex, but okay. No, but I think that, when people are posting all the time on social media, documenting what they're doing in an attempt to make others feel, like their life is good, it's causing this weird lack of focus on the present. I mean, I drive around for my job. I am constantly on the road, and I'll drive by school zones, I'll drive by bus stops, and I'll see kids that are 14 to like 17, 18 years old. And all of them would be in a group and everybody has their phone.
I thought you were gonna say they have AirPods.
Well, they don't even get me started on AirPods. But they all have their phones. Like, it's a weird thing where you start to see people now in groups, and when you really think about it, you try and notice how many people like can't do something, can't just sit still and like sit on a bench without having their phone out. And I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
But it's just and a lot of it is, people Snapchatting and Instagramming, and I feel like people just try so hard to be funny, try so hard to get the video that's going to go viral, that we've lost that humanity in the now.
And then if you do try to, talk to someone in real life, then it comes off as weird. Like if you're, let's say you're at a bus stop, and like instead of being on your phone and like isolating yourself, like you're just like, "Hey man, how's your day going?" And they're just gonna be like,
why are you talking to me?
Good, I guess. Like, what do you want?
Like, what's your agenda? And it's like, dude, I just want to have a conversation with you. Like, and that's one thing I do like about my job is I get to go around and just basically have conversations with people. I met this guy from Australia today. He was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Had a super nice house. Social media, what are your thoughts overall?
I mean, I like it for the memes. I'm all in it for the memes. I mean, Twitter just has some of the best stuff, and I really get a good laugh at it sometimes. On other times, like, I just would rather not. Ever since, it's kind of weird. Like, I got a new phone, but ever since then, I've been using my phone less.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been finding myself to be happier and not, like, I don't know, I just haven't wanted to engage that much. And maybe it's because, like, my phone's, like, it's too new that I don't want to, like, touch it. So, like, I've just been, I don't know, been focused on more doing and less watching.
My thing is lately is less on social media and more on just like the practical functions of the phone. I've been taking to explore just the way like the settings, and I feel like such an old man. I'm like, I want to learn the settings. I want to learn how the phone works. Some of the intricate like tips and tricks. Did you know that there's an app that has
the Tips app?
The Tips app.
I opened that just to see.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool feature. A bunch of features that you don't know your phone can do. And I've been trying to do that and stay off the media. It drains me. I find that when I do a solid, like, maybe hour scrolling through social media, I find myself angry.
Really?
I find myself like on edge because I see something that I disagree with, and I'm like, I want to interact with that, and I want to say something, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be the guy that comments on a bunch of, like, a meme. I'm not going to comment on a page.
Thanks, random man, for your opinion.
Thanks, random man that I don't know that lives in a different state, for your well thought out opinion that's, filled with verbs.
I'll confess to you now, I used to be obsessed with, like, going onto Twitter and wanting to, like, catch up on my feed and having to read every post that I missed.
Really?
Like late last year, like I was just like super into it. Like, and if I had been away from the TL, as it's called, the timeline, for too long, and like I would see that there's like I have so much to catch up on. I'm like, man, I gotta like read up through all this. As of now, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like I got out
really
of it.
don't.
I don't know why I was like so into it.
I don't know.
But speaking of things I've seen on social media, I found something really fascinating, and it's been kind of like boggling my mind all day. Well, for the past couple of days. It's nothing bad. It's more like wow. So this is not it. So the caption is, would you eat 6 donuts? And it's a little chart that says how many donuts are the equivalent to these products. And so 6 donuts are the helping of one soda.
A 20-ounce soda with 65 grams of sugar.
And then the juice one trips me out. 3.5 donuts
Yeah.
are 12 ounces of juice.
Yeah, when people are like, oh, man, I'm going to drink juice. It's like, okay. There's still a bunch of sugar in that. Like, tons of sugar. Look, 36 grams of sugar in a 12-ounce juice. If that was the size of that, they would be very similar.
Right.
And, comparing it with the donuts is, that's an interesting take.
Well, it just goes to show you that like donuts are not. I mean, they're obviously not good for you, but like compared to the stuff that everyone else is eating up on, like you're essentially drinking donuts.
Blended donuts. Yeah, next time you want a soda, just put 6 donuts in a blender and then
It kind of
go to
makes
town.
you think like, hey, that one donut you want to snack on, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead and do it.
It's
It's all
not.
right.
It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Would you eat 6 donuts? Ugh.
No.
I couldn't eat 6 donuts. Like, I couldn't. That's too many donuts. What's your favorite donut?
You know, I used to be a big maple bar guy, but my heart has drifted me towards the chocolate donut,
Okay.
like chocolate frosted.
I'm a kid at heart and always have been. Chocolate sprinkled donut.
Those are good.
Bomb. Sprinkles. Anything with sprinkles, I'm down.
What's your least favorite donut? Man,
Anything with jelly or cream filling.
all right. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
Apparently someone bought us donuts at work for our department, and I was like, "What is this?" And I was like looking for like a traditional, donut with just chocolate on it, and the only ones that were there were the cream filled ones. I'm like, "Ew,"
You want to know why?
because they're the worst kind.
Because they're trash.
The person that bought the donuts or those?
No, the cream filled. Those are always the last ones. Those are always the last ones in the box. Because nobody likes those.
What is even? So obviously some of it has jelly, but I was trying to find out like what's the yellow stuff.
It's a custard.
I don't like that.
Yeah. If you filled a donut with pudding, I'd be down.
And then Voodoo's over there getting crazy with their donut.
Voodoo, the ODB, the peanut butter and Oreos and chocolate frosting. If you don't like that,
Wait, chocolate Oreos and
chocolate glaze, right?
okay.
Oreos and peanut butter.
This seems like too sweet though.
It is. It is 100%. If you eat one of those without milk, you are cruising for a bruising, my friend. But thems are so good.
I feel like I'm kind of down on Voodoo these days.
I haven't had Voodoo in a long time.
Like I don't. Maybe a few years ago I would have been into the extra stuff, but it's like, just give me a chocolate donut.
Oh, I haven't had even
Call it
a
a day.
donut in a long time. I think the closest thing I've had to a donut recently is a donut hole.
What?
So basically, you have the donut with the inside taken out. They call them donut holes because they're donut balls, and they're the whole. They're supposed to be the inside of the donut.
That's what those are called?
The donut hole.
I thought it was just called like a donut ball. Why is it called inside donut?
Let's call it donut hole because it's the whole of the donut formed into a ball and then created into a donut.
But it's a ball.
But it's I get what you mean. But it's
like calling.
you could fit the ball inside of the donut hole.
It's like calling a seed like the inner part of a pumpkin.
It's like calling the seed the pumpkin's organs.
Right.
Gross.
None of that.
Gross. Oh my gosh. When I said we were talking about the baby on the plane, and I was like, I'll just put it in the overhead bin. My mom listened to the podcast. She texted me and she goes, please don't ever talk about putting babies in an overhead bin again. And I was like, never. I'll talk about whatever I want. What is your thoughts on like social media and its effects on purchasing items?
Honestly, sometimes like I guess it depends on what it is, but like if I see an Instagram ad that is like, oh, a t-shirt clothing line, I don't know, I usually don't feel inclined to purchase it. But if it's like, if I see maybe like a guy I follow on YouTube who has a Twitter account and he's like, oh, just bought these headphones and they're like pretty solid, like, I don't know, I like the content creator and I trust his opinion, so I don't know, maybe I'll give him a shot.
What about speaking specifically memes and AirPods?
I don't have AirPods.
Well, okay, but let's talk about the AirPod meme because you are a trusted source in this.
I think they're funny. I think Apple's weird, man. They could literally put out like any product and people are just gonna buy it.
Well,
Not that the AirPods aren't good.
That's fair. I'm
But
one of those people.
I'm
so
also
that's fair.
a hipster and decided to buy, a different brand's version of AirPods for half the price.
Right.
So,
Well, okay. So I have said ad nauseum that I was the one. I bought AirPods when they first came out.
you're a true hipster.
I'm a true hipster. I was on the AirPod thing like from the jump because I was looking for wireless headphones that fit me the way that the Apple headphones always have. Because no, the sound quality isn't like the best, but you can't deny that the only thing taking the headphones out of my ear is when I catch the cord and yank them out of my ears.
The mic quality on them is pretty good.
And
too.
the mic quality is great. Yes, that's another thing I will say.
I had a guy call me today, and when I saw him, he had AirPods. I'm like, that was the quality of this. I'm like,
Most of the time, if I'm talking on the phone, I have my AirPods in.
it sounds good.
I use them for work, and when I'm talking to people and I'm out on the job and someone calls me, I just double tap my ear and answer the phone. And people, I mean, I never have a problem with the mic quality. But the point I was trying to make was you have this move, like, people that are buying AirPods were mainly adults that could afford the $175 price tag when they first came out.
Right.
So, for the first while, not a lot of people had AirPods.
Yeah, when you saw them, it's
you
like,
saw them,
damn.
they were exclusive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw them and you were like, oh, okay, cool. You shelled out the money and bought AirPods. It's cool. And then the memes come around that it's like, to all of my broke friends that don't have AirPods, and it's, the meme or whatever about only rich people affording AirPods, even though $175 is not that much for decent headphones.
Well, I mean, for what you're paying, there are far better headphones
Of
out
course.
there on the market. But
Of course, but they're
it's that
compatible.
It's that Apple Flex.
They're compatible with my iPhone. When you connect AirPods to your phone, you open the case, press the back button on the case, and they automatically connect via Bluetooth. And then they automatically connect every time you put them in your ear. They just automatically turn on.
So you have to press a button for them to connect?
Initially. Once they're paired with your Bluetooth, though, you never have to do it again.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
So,
say,
like,
that's
when you
kinda
first
weird.
get them and you open the case, when you have your phone right next to it, if I were to open my case right now and your phone was open, it would register on your phone and you could press connect and it would connect to your phone, like, just like that. That was when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into Bluetooth settings. You don't have to do anything. You just open the case, connect right away. It's super cool. But the memes come out.
And then everybody...
And then, so my theory is the memes start saying, the main theme of an AirPod meme
was
fun.
Like,
I'm rich and you're not.
Yeah.
If you don't have AirPods, you're a peasant.
You're broke.
You're broke, whatever. So that mentality, if you are a kid, let's say you're in high school, we're freshmen in high school now. Throw up. Anyways, we're freshmen in high school now. And the memes and, social media is just running rampant through our school, where you are in that era. You and I are adults with full-time jobs, but if we were at school, I know that if I had an iPhone in school, I would never have graduated. I'd have been on Instagram, I'd have been on, whatever, never paying attention, because everybody's on social media. It's like the thing.
Well, anytime they would have seen, I'm assuming like an AirPod user, like somebody with regular headphones, were like, oh man.
Right. So
what's that cord on?
Yeah, so like the mentality is shifted when you're in school and you're surrounded by memes. The mentality of if you don't have AirPods, you're broke. Like your mentality shifts. So then Christmas comes around, you beg your parents to get you AirPods.
Please, Mom, I don't want to be broke.
Yeah, like you beg your parents to get AirPods. Now you're seeing a huge wave of everybody having AirPods. And this is the point where I want to hop off. But
I think that's a little silly, though.
they're so... Well, I'm not going to. I just... My inner hipster... The inner hipster in me is like, dude, I don't want to be a part of something that everybody has.
You could join me with the Indie Wireless.
Well, my problem is I'm so used to them and they're so convenient, the usage of them, that until they come out with colored ones, I'm not going to... Probably won't switch.
You can get skins for them, though. So
Well, yeah, it's too much work. I want legitimately black, because I want a black case.
they make that. You could turn that into black. It exists, guy. I've seen it.
All right, I'll check it out. Anyways, I think that social media, and you could be, real conspiracy theory, and you could say like, that members of Apple, there's a division of Apple
That like
creates
coverted
memes.
memes.
No, they
AirPods memes.
create accounts and post memes regularly that would promote the AirPods in a way that doesn't seem like a promotion, in a way that just seems like some guy is at home calling a bunch of people broke. I mean, you could get real conspiracy theory with it, and you can, hit that point.
It's an inside job.
It's an inside job.
Have you seen that video of I'm assuming they're in high school, but this kid has his AirPods in, and his friend comes up to him, yanks one out, and swallows it.
And that's another thing. It's the chase for clout. Like, why are people doing stuff like that? Why are people being intentionally cruel to others? Like, on film, knowing that they're all of that for a drop of clout. It's sad, bro.
It's really gross.
It's gross, dude. If someone came up to me, took my AirPod out of my ear and swallowed it, I would beat that person until he threw it up.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm like, dude, these were $175. You're not about to take that with you home. I'm sorry, bro. I can't buy one replacement AirPod. I have to buy a whole new thing.
The sad thing is there's another incident like that, and like the kid that swallowed his AirPods, when it came out, it was still playing music and it still had battery. So shout out to Apple for making a solid product.
You're like trying to go to bed at night, and all of a sudden you just hear like Fergalicious or something coming out. Eventually they disconnect, but whatever.
Yeah,
I think that. Well, have you seen like the prank Instagram, like the Instagram pages where they like prank their family members?
they loosely, but yeah.
So like this guy, there was a video on Instagram, and he walked up to his sister who was on her phone, took it from her, and threw it in like the ocean, or it was like a lake or something.
What?
Off a pier. Just grabs it out of her hand and just chucks it into the water.
Wow.
And then starts laughing and runs away. I'm like, if that happened to me, you're catching these palms, son.
And they're related?
Well, I don't know if they were related. He had to have known her, though, because she called him by his name and then ran after him. As if it was like,
the norm.
oh, okay. Just take my phone and throw it in the water.
Johnny, stop.
It's like a $1,200 phone, but okay.
So I have a hypothetical for you.
Hypothetical time.
And like, it's so ridiculous, but it's like, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
You haven't been able to wrap your head around it?
Here it is. $10 million right now in your hand, but there's a catch. A snail is chasing you for the rest of your life, and if it touches you, you die a terrible death. The snail cannot be killed. It knows your location at all times, and its only purpose is to find you. Are you taking that money? Just go ahead and think about that for a little bit.
How big is the snail?
We'll say normal snail. A normal snail constantly knows where you're at, and its sole purpose is to touch you.
Laws of size come into factor. Like if I'm in my house, there's no way a snail's getting into my house.
But you know what's like waiting for you.
That's fine.
But that would like terrify me though, because like imagine you go to a vacation, like I'm gonna go to Brazil, and this snail is like on your trail.
But okay, but if you think about it logically, by the time the snail, like just looking at the difference in size, right? For us traveling to Japan, 12-hour flight, you had to go over a body of water.
I just like to picture that this snail
I agree. I think it's funny.
Suitcase.
But if that's a real thing, like if I'm thinking about this right now, if you legitimately had $10 million on the table and you were like, hey, this is Harvey the snail. He's sitting on the chair right there. As soon as you do the transfer of money, his vendetta begins.
He turns on.
He turns on. And he will come after you. How fast do snails move? It'll take him the remainder of this podcast, the remainder of time that it's going to take for me to grab the $10 million, put it in a duffel bag, take it out to my car, get in my car, and drive home. It's going to be able to move from the back of that chair to the front of that chair.
But think about this, though. You have to sleep at some point. Harvey's coming.
Okay.
And he's got an
Right.
agenda.
How is Harvey going to get into your house? Have you ever in your entire life, no matter how much you've tried to get ants out of your house, there will always be one ant that you would find somewhere. Garage, somewhere. Right? How many times has a snail been in your house or your garage? When have you ever seen a snail not on the road, on the side of someone's house, or... so realistically, like a spider, get in your house. I don't care. If a spider wants to get in your house, it's going to get in your house. How is a snail going to get in your house?
I don't know, man.
Right. So if you're following that line of logic and you're like, okay, the snail can't get into my house, you know that when you go to sleep, you're comfortable knowing that that snail cannot get you.
But just the fact that he's hanging outside, like...
Great. You open your front door, he's right there.
Little Harvey's
just chilling, right? You take 2 big steps and you just walk on past him.
He's like, darn it, he got away.
No. I almost had him. All right, I'll get you next time. And by the time he can make it from your front door to the end of your sidewalk, you've already come home from work. You're like, hey, what's up, Harvey? Take 2 more steps. He's like, I almost got him. You walk in your house, close the door. You're safe. And you're $10 million richer.
Yeah, but you're in constant fear of Harvey just...
Again.
Harvey the snail.
By the time Harvey can touch me, I will spend all $10 million making this world a better place and go out happy. By the time he touches me, I'll be 80 years old. And at that point, I'm like, where you at, Harvey? Come here.
So I'm
trying to go.
You're constantly on the run from the snail.
Again.
So you would take it.
100%. Because at the same time, on the run from a snail, think about that for a second. That's different than being on the run from, like, killers. Like, that's different than being on the run from, like, a cheetah. Right? Like, a cheetah, if a cheetah wanted to bust through this window right now and maul the 2 of us, it probably could.
Yeah.
So if someone was like, hey, $10 million, but you will have a perpetual 3-year-old who's consistently 3 years old, follow you around, and if that 3-year-old touches you, you die. Then I'd be like, okay, 3-year-old can open a door. 3-year-old could, I mean, if it's a perpetually 3, but the mind grows, it'll eventually learn. Dress up as a different 3-year-old. Walk up to me. I'm a sucker for kids. Touch me, and I'm gone. But a snail? How many times do I touch a snail? Never.
I think part of the agreement was that you can't remove the snail either. Like, you can't, like, grab his shell, like,
no, of course not.
I'm going to put you down the street.
Yeah, of course not.
He's not going to allow that.
But again, I mean, if a snail's opening my front door and getting into my house, I have better things to worry about than the $10 million.
I don't think I would do it.
Okay.
I just feel like the constant fear of a snail watching me with an agenda to kill me is, it's a little haunting.
I guess
I'll be honest.
I'm not afraid of death.
I'm not either. The fact that it's just lurking. Like, the way I envision this scenario is that if I turn around, I see a little snail, like, down the hallway, and he's going to look at me like, I'm coming.
I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And I mean, they're slow, but I don't know, man. Over time, I feel like they just get endurance.
Harvey's got a good start. He's got some momentum.
Yeah.
He's on his way. I don't know, man. I look at it from, like, the real standpoint. That's a great hypothetical, though.
Yeah, I just been like,
that's funny.
When I first read that, I'm like, of course I would say. I'm like, wait, I don't know.
The threat of Harvey. I guess if it was like, hey, Slender Man is going to be after you. Oh, well, okay, let's alter the hypothetical. What if $10 million, there is the constant threat of Harvey, but he doesn't kill you. You just know that anywhere you go and you look back, there's going to be a snail staring at you. You taking the $10 million then? Like, if you took death out of the equation, but everything else was still the same.
He's just there?
He's just there.
What does he want?
Wants to touch you. Wants to be friends.
I mean,
wants to maybe kill you, but hasn't worked up the courage yet.
Doesn't necessarily have the technical abilities to do
Well, I mean,
it.
when did the snail have the technical abilities to kill you in the first place?
Death by snails.
Death by snails.
If death wasn't it, I don't know, man.
Like, if you take death out of the equation, does that change your feelings?
No. If I get out the shower and I see Harvey hanging out, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? It's like steaming.
Now, if you did a spider, if you flipped the switch and you were like, hey, there's a tarantula that's going to try and kill you, but you get $10 million.
Nope.
Heck no.
Nope. Big old nope.
Dude, there was a spider on my window, on my windshield, on the outside of my windshield. I got out to flick it off my windshield, and I watched it crawl up and into the crease at the top of my car, and I never been able to find it since. And I'm almost positive it's like inside my car now, and is going to kill me as soon as it sees me.
That reminds me of a time I was headed to work, and like I was running late. No surprise. But I saw like a spider web near my side mirror, and I was like, whatever. I haven't drove in like 2 days. And then I'm like going down the road driving, coming to a stop, and it was a sunny day. I had the windows down, and I was like, oh, let me just like get rid of the web while that I'm here. And I was on the stoplight. And then like at the glance of my eye, I see the spider like get in my car. I'm like, whoa, how did this happen? And then by the time I finally get to the place of work, I'm like, all right, there's no way this spider is like still in here. It was on my seatbelt, and like I about nearly crashed my car trying to like get this spider off of me. I had like a heart attack.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what it is, but insects, bugs, like anything that flies and lands on me freaks me out. It was like some cicada, cicadas are huge. There was some form of a bug. I was driving on this dirt road, and I had my windows down, and all of a sudden it just flies right in past my face and lands up in like the top corner of my windshield. And I like had a heart attack. I like jumped and was like, what the heck was that? I grabbed a receipt and I like tried to like swat it out. But then I was worried that if I hit it, it was going to like fly at me. But I hit it and it like came right in front of me and then flew right out the window. And I was like, dude. And I rolled my window up, turned my AC on. I was like, nope, I'm not dealing with that. And I don't know why. It was like a bug like this big.
Yeah,
for some reason, it's the insect, the flying nature of a bug that creeps me out.
Yeah, they just don't. They also don't look very friendly.
Well, have you ever seen microscopic pictures, macro pictures of like ants or?
Yeah, I'm not trying to see that,
dude. If you were the size of that and you saw that coming at you, I would terror. And it's an ant.
Yeah.
What we consider like bees and wasps and things like that. If you were to shrink down to the size and see all 8 eyes looking at you, gross.
Very gross.
Could not be me.
This has been an interesting episode with Harvey the Snail.
Donut holes or donut balls?
In snails.
And snails. And Harvey the Snail. All right, man. Until next week.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.